Okay. Well, I hope everyone is doing well this weekend, and thank you all for joining this meeting. And I'll just open things up for questions if you have any. And also, those of you that have taken a look at my book, Homeopathic Ophthalmology, I appreciate that. And if you can give me your comments, and those of you that maybe did not get the link to download the book, it's the unedited version of the book, so it's still being edited right now, but at least you'll be able to get an idea on the content. So I'm still making some changes, and if any of you have suggestions or comments, it would be most appreciated. And also you get a chance to pick your favorite cover of the book too.
Generation that's alive and we go through the all these things are pushing for
Okay, well, there's some noise in the background. I don't know if someone's asking a question or the TV's on. So anyway, you can type your question in the chat or just raise your hand. Let me see if there's anything in the chat. Nope, there's no questions in the chat. So anybody has any questions? Okay, Sue, I'm going to unmute you.
Okay, I just joined a little, I was having a little trouble getting in. And so I missed what you were saying originally. Can we still get the opportunity to preview your book on homeopathy?
I'll be sending you a link. If you look at the last email that I sent inviting you to this meeting, there's a link to download the book. The PDF.
Okay.
But if you can't find that link, just ask Chris.
Okay.
It is password protected. I think you have to type in homeopathy 2023 to open up the PDF.
Okay.
And I'm not looking for people to edit it or make spelling corrections. I'm sure there's a lot of errors, but I have a professional editor going over it. But mainly, I just want you to look at it for the content and tell me if you like it and maybe some suggestions. I mean, could you please expand on this, or can you give me more information about this? I've been working on this book for probably about 10 years. I was hoping to have it published 10 years ago, but I keep on making changes. So
yeah, I remember when you first started working on it, and I've been waiting and waiting and waiting for it to come out. So I'm definitely looking forward to it.
okay, yeah, and please, send me your comments or suggestions. And I think it's a very important book for me because I'm hoping that it opens the door for a lot of other eye doctors to become interested in homeopathy. So my main purpose is that it's interesting. There's a book out called Copeland's Cure. He was a turn of the century ophthalmologist. He was a state senator, and he was an eye surgeon and a homeopathic doctor. And he utilized homeopathy along with his ophthalmology practice. And he claimed that homeopathy is very valuable because it helped him get better results. And here he is, a board certified ophthalmologist, a surgeon using homeopathy. So that's another good book. It's called Copeland's Cure. It's all about Royal Copeland, turn of the century ophthalmologist, state senator.
I have a question right away.
Okay, you're Ron?
I'm his wife, health coach. Some feedback. All right. My question is, does the ozonated eye drops interfere with antibiotics?
What eye drops are you talking about?
Ozonated eye drops. Okay, I'll say this. Ron had an infection in his eye, so we went to the doctor, a specialist. He recommended antibiotic eye drops. I'll have to get you the name for it. It helped the infection in a week. Now he's putting him on the steroids. He says he's got a thing that could make a hole. And he says the steroids gives him is a 50-50 chance. Either it'll work or it won't work. And then he's headed towards a surgery, recommending that next. Says he has a defect and there's blood vessels growing into not the corona, the cornea.
Cornea,
I'll get you the name of the eye drops.
But, actually ozone eye drops can replace antibiotics.
Right.
Ozone eye drops can replace antibiotics because ozone has the ability to destroy bacteria and viruses. They're using it now in swimming pools to kill bacteria. So the antibiotics may not be necessary. The ozone should destroy any bacteria. To answer your question, ozone will interfere with an antibiotic.
This antibiotic is moxifloxacin. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a strong antibiotic. But my opinion is that ozonated eye drops by themselves should be able to stop any infection.
Okay, well, I was using the ozonated eye drops constantly, day in and day out, all day long, and they didn't seem to do anything for the infection. When I started the antibiotics, within the first 24 hours to 48 hours, all my pain and discomfort in my eyes were gone. And within the next 3 or 4 days, all the constant tearing that I was having gushing out of my eyes all day long decreased to kind of a dribble here and there during the day. So the antibiotics definitely did something different than the ozone eye drops were doing.
The doctor also took him completely off his 3 other pressure drops, and then his pressures was actually better this time. It went down to 10. One of them went down to 11 and 14 instead of 13.
The only thing I can say is that maybe the ozone wasn't high enough concentration, or the bacterial infection was just so powerful that it just overwhelmed things. Because the oxyfloxacin that you're taking is a very, very strong antibiotic, very, very strong.
Well, I'm happy for that because it sure did the job after a week. A week ago, I started that and I saw him again yesterday, and he wanted me to continue the antibiotics. So he renewed my script on that. And he also put me on a steroid. The first visit, he said I had ulcerations in both eyes, and that's all he stated about that at the first visit. This second visit yesterday, not only did he mention the word ulcerations, he said I had holes in both my eyes, and the steroid would either help it or not help it and go in the other direction. So I have another appointment coming up this coming Tuesday to see how that's working, and we'll discuss surgery then if necessary. But he says I definitely need those taken care of in some manner, or it's going to lead to big troubles.
Yeah, did he identify the cause of the infection? Did he do cultures on your eye?
Yes, he did cultures, but I haven't heard a result of that yet. He did that the first visit, cultured both eyes to see what might have caused it.
Helen, we sent the reports to him yesterday. We sent you the reports, Dr. Kondrot.
When did you send them?
yesterday, I hope.
Okay, well, Chris probably hasn't had a chance to forward it to me, but I'll take
Yeah,
a look at it and give my opinion. But I'm happy that your pressure is lower. That's good.
The sequence of events was that a couple months ago, I started having problems with my vision decreasing and the tearing going crazy all day long. And we were talking about homeopathic at that time too, and you said stop my homeopathic, which I did a couple months ago. And you said wait for my next appointment with my ophthalmologist, which wasn't going to come up until March 17, which I had. And the results of that appointment were sent to you, should have been on the 17th of March. And I talked to Chris after that because I ran out of my ocular mist also, and I was going to reorder on that. And I also mentioned that we'd been off the homeopathic for a month, and you said to make some kind of appointment with you to talk about a new homeopathic. So she suggested we don't reorder the ocular mist right now because you may want to change it. Wait till I talk to you about it. And
Yeah, I think we have to wait until the dust settles, because as long as you're on the antibiotic and steroids, the homeopathic medicine will not be that effective. The antibiotics and steroids will overwhelm the homeopathic remedy.
yeah,
So we have
I
to
knew
wait.
that. So
We have
this
to
new
wait till the dust.
ophthalmologist he sent me to is a cornea expert supposedly, and sounds like he is. And he is the one we've been talking about right now, about taking care of the antibiotics and the steroid and the possible surgery. What is your opinion about heading towards more surgery to take care of these ulcerations in both my eyes?
Well, my question is, what's the underlying cause? What actually
Right.
caused the ulceration? Did
Right.
the
And
corneal expert have any idea? Because sometimes you have inflammation of your eyelashes. You have some other condition going on with your body, which may have contributed to that ulcer.
yeah,
You know,
we
foreign body.
have not gotten to this discussing any cause of it. We just discussed that it's there and we got to do something about it.
Yeah, but based on homeopathic principles, you get these infections because there's a weakness in your body. Your body's not able to fight off the infection, the bacteria or the virus or whatever caused it. So strengthening your body. And of course, that goes back to basic, reducing stress, proper nutrition, good health, all those things. If you're in a debilitated state, your body is more prone to get infections.
Well, my wife might say I'm in a debilitated state, but for months I've been on a fairly good diet, not sticking to it perfectly, but doing the best I can, taking a lot of supplements daily, not missing that. And I'm also doing chelation therapy that I started the first part of February, and I'm doing that on a weekly basis. Also, I'm getting IV injections of vitamin C to help everything. I'm also taking gee, I can't think of it. LDN, naproxen, for my bladder cancer.
And what is he not doing? He's not walking and he's not sleeping.
Well, I keep waking up every night, going to the bathroom, because after the insult with all the stuff I've been having done to my bladder, I think it's just wants to empty itself all the time more. I never had this problem before my bladder cancer. So that's kind of where I'm at this point.
Well, whenever you get cancer, your body's in an immunocompromised situation. So
Right.
that right there, you know, and then you're taking a chemotherapeutic drug, which interferes with your immune system too. And the eye infection could have been a side effect of being immunosuppressed. So there's a lot, there's a lot of things going on with you.
Are you saying LDN's a chemotherapeutic drug?
Right, it is.
I'm not familiar with it, but it sounds like it's a chemotherapeutic drug.
Low dose naltrexone? All right, thank you.
Understand. Yeah, I think that is, and that's why I'm taking it. And the reason I'm taking that from the chelation person is that, of course, that's patented, and the pharmaceutical people aren't making any money on it, so nobody's using that anywhere anymore. But I'm told that that really is a good one and does the trick as far as killing the cancer cells, which all the present chemotherapy doesn't really kill the cancer cells.
Yeah, but it also kills some of the white blood cells and other,
All of it. Yeah, I understand that.
Listen.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm trained up allopathically too, so I'm with you on the program, and I have a lot more understanding than most people when you say things.
Yeah, well, let me take a look at the records and I'll probably get back to you on Monday. I'll
Well, I
let Chris.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay, we have a question in the chat. Have you seen people that have had cataract surgery with a history of uveitis? Well, uveitis is an inflammation of the eye, which can actually cause cataracts. And of course, sometimes you get uveitis after cataract surgery. So the two are related. So if you have a history of uveitis and you have cataract surgery, the cataract surgery could make the uveitis worse. So you have to be careful with that. And have you heard of any countries that do stem cell treatments for cataracts? No one is doing stem cells for cataracts. Cataracts, first of all, they don't have a blood supply. And I don't think stem cells will ever be effective with cataracts. Stem cells can be effective for other conditions like optic nerve problems, macular degeneration, but I don't think it's going to be ever used for cataracts. Here's Arlene has a question here.
Before you jump to the next question, can I just get a little clarification on the first part of that question?
Yeah.
Which was the long term. I understand after surgery one can be susceptible to a flare of uveitis. Have you seen in the long term any side effects after?
Well, normally you have some inflammation directly after cataract surgery, but there shouldn't be any long-term side effects. Most people have a brief period of inflammation after cataract surgery, which is controlled with steroids or anti-inflammatory drops. And after that initial phase of inflammation, it never occurs again. But if you have an underlying weakness in your body towards uveitis, if you have a history of uveitis repeatedly in the past, then there's a good chance that that uveitis could then reoccur after the cataract surgery.
Yeah, I think this question's coming from a sort of a question that was asked by someone else last time about you know, a lens implant having causing long-term irritation on the if someone has a history of inflammation. It wasn't uveitis in that question, it was inflammation. And yeah.
Well, usually the lens implant is kind of an inert material. I am concerned that the lens implants are made of plastic.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother issue of some of the plastic polymers leaching into the eye and causing problems. So that's a concern. And individuals that maybe have a sensitivity to plastic or chemicals, they have to be cautious.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate.
Oh, well, thank you. So I'm trying to understand this question, Arlene, if she's there.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
it's a
Hello.
lengthy question here.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's almost like a book,
Yeah, lots of history. I'm 80.
but you look good.
Oh, thank you.
So what is the connection between digestion, blood pressure, and blood sugar as it relates to visual acuity?
Yeah.
Well, more and more researchers and alternative doctors are beginning to understand that our digestive tract is very important for the health of the eye and the brain. The gut. You need to have a healthy gut to have healthy vision and healthy brain function. So that's one of the reasons why our diet is very important, especially eating fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt. We need those healthy organisms in our gut. And that's one of the problems when you take antibiotics. Antibiotics destroy all the healthy organisms in the gut.
Yeah.
And that can cause a problem. Now, certainly blood pressure and blood sugar are related to the eye. When you have an elevation of blood sugar, that can affect your vision. And of course, the long-term elevation in sugar can be related to diabetes. And, blood pressure, too much salt. The old-time ophthalmologists talked about the three poisons, salt, sugar, and hard water, in terms of that being contributing factors to cataracts. And I think in the American diet, we consume entirely too much sugar and too much salt. And, our water is contaminated, not so much being hard, but it's contaminated. And you want to know if you used it for cataracts before you had cataracts, it may need updating. And yeah, we can update the programs now. And thanks to Ning Wu, the brilliant engineer at Insprstar, there's a method where I can log on to your computer and update your Insprstar machine. And we can add and subtract different programs, and we can change the frequency. You have to invest in some software. And then I log on and take control of your computer, and I change the protocols and the frequencies for whatever changes you want to make.
Okay.
Actually, there are some really good frequencies for diabetes. I know there's a couple of alternative doctors that love the insulin program that we have. And I heard from them that it's helping their diabetics.
So I should ask for the insulin program?
That would be a good option, yeah, if you're having borderline problems.
Yeah, I know that it's important to get these under control.
Mhm.
And I'm very, very grateful just to hear you acknowledge that there are practitioners who are seeing a link between vision and digestion, because nobody here, they just go on to the next topic, whatever it is. They don't take that information in and use it. It's just like Greek to them, so thank you.
Yeah, the health of your gut is critical. In fact, they've done some interesting studies that children that are delivered by C-section, they have problems with their immune system all their life, because when you have a vaginal birth, the child is like inoculated to all sorts of bacteria. And then also breastfeeding, you're getting the bacteria. And so now we have a whole generation of children that are delivered C-section, and they don't have natural breastfeeding. They get bottled milk, and that's affecting, and plus all the immunizations, the antibiotics, it's just destroying our gut. A healthy gut will give you a healthy brain and healthy vision. Anthony, you had your hand up. How
Yeah.
are you?
Good, doctor. Couple questions. First is, in your email about this meeting, you mentioned that you can purchase the leads for the newer machine. And
Mhm.
I believe I have the newer machine. Where would you purchase the pads?
Ningwu does not sell the pads because they're so inexpensive. You
Mhm.
can get them on Amazon.
Okay,
They have the pads and they're standard pads. It's like a pin lead.
okay,
They're standard pins.
okay.
And there's a company called Alhassa owns
Mhm.
a acupuncture microcurrent company, and they have all sorts of pads.
Okay.
Those are the two sources for the
And then
pads.
another question I have is, you mentioned the software for updating the system. And then I thought I read somewhere where if you're a continuing patient or a continuing client, it seemed like this, I thought I read it as the software was included, or did I read that wrong?
Oh, no, it is included. If you're part of the continued care, the software is included. The reason why we did that, usually when you first join the program, it's for 3 months.
Okay,
The majority of people don't renew. They get good results. They're happy with the microcurrent. I would say maybe 20 or 25% of people want to get better vision, or they just didn't get the results that they thought, and then they want to sign up for continued care. And when they do that, then we have to work with them in terms of changing some of the protocols, the frequencies, the current, and things like that.
now is that $1,000 program I was talking about with Chris?
Um, Yeah, I think the continued care, I'm not sure the exact price. I
Mhm.
think it is about $1,000, and
Okay,
that includes the software.
okay,
The software is probably about $600.
okay.
And
Now
you
the
get that
last
from-
question,
You
the
get that
last-
from Ningwu.
okay. And the last question I have is, I think you and I need to reevaluate my homeopathic. I've been on it since February 27, and I really haven't noticed any difference in my major problems. And I figured I would have noticed something by now.
Right. Usually we like to give it a month. Typically, you may not notice a physical change, but we like to see a mental emotional shift. Maybe a calmness, more energy, being more centered, and then maybe some, better sleep and, some positive changes. But if you don't have any change at all, then
Right.
we have to sit down and look for a different remedy. I always like to tell the story, when I had my severe asthma, it was the third remedy that cured my asthma. The first remedy didn't do a thing. And I thought it would. I mean, I was like,
Right.
if it was gonna be a placebo effect, it would have helped then, because I thought homeopathy is going to help. The
Well, that's
second
why,
remedy
yeah.
maybe helped a little bit, but the third remedy was like, like the lights, somebody turned on a light switch.
That's why I asked the question, because when I was reading your book, I saw that about the sometimes takes up to 3 times. But is this something I set up a 10 or 15-minute discussion with you about through Chris? Or?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay.
And
I've tried to
usually-
get a hold of her, but I haven't heard back from her. I don't know if she's busy doing something or.
Yeah, my schedule has been fairly open, and we can squeeze you in.
Okay, because should I have an eye doctor appointment at the end of the month. Should I just wait to schedule it after that or
Yeah.
before that?
That would be
After.
best. Wait,
After.
yeah, wait till you have the eye doctor's appointment.
Okay, then I'll contact you. Okay.
Because
Thanks.
here's the thing, Anthony, if there's a big change in your eye doctor's appointment, and he says, you have positive changes, I may not want to switch to homeopathic remedy. The
Okay.
homeopathic remedy may be working on a subtle level.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, there's a note here. Some hospitals are willing to swab babies born by C-sections with vaginal bacteria. That's good to know. Joe, hi. Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep,
Can
I
you
hear
hear
you.
me
How are
okay?
you?
Yeah. Just a couple of questions. I just wanted to know, first of all, I don't have any cataract drops. Should I have got any of those, or I've tried Can C in the past, but I've never been very consistent with them, I have to say.
I like the Oclumed. That's been the only eye drop that
Right.
I have found to actually reverse cataracts. The Can C, I haven't seen that great a success with them.
And where
They might have some effect in slowing the progression, but I haven't seen a reversal.
where can I get those drops then?
The Oclumed, you'd have to contact the office.
Okay.
Contact Chris.
Also then, with the glasses, the colored glasses, is it possible to use them with actual daylight, maybe in dull daylight, rather than an incandescent bulb?
I don't like the natural daylight because you want to get a low illumination. So that's why I recommend a very low watt bulb.
Okay.
Maybe 10, 25 watts. You want to have a low illumination. The problem with natural light, sometimes it can be too intense.
Okay.
So the ideal way, more light is not better. You want gentle irradiation of your eyes. So you want to have a low illuminated light bulb, sit about 5 to 6 feet away in a dimly lit room and do it that way.
Okay.
I think you'll get the best results that way.
Okay. What was the other thing I wanted? I find it really difficult to take all the supplements. There seem to be so many. I can take it kind of once a day, but twice a day is just too much. I can't manage that, I think. So
Now you're having digestive problems, or
well,
you can't
it
swallow?
just makes me gag, really. I just it's just too, I find all the tablets, I'm not very good at taking tablets.
But what some of my patients will do is use a blender.
Yeah, well, I was trying that, I have to say. And then, but then it just made it so thick, but I'll continue trying anyway. Just with the homeopathic remedy, is just once a day is enough? Is that right, for the teaspoon?
No, we only want to. There's different ways of prescribing homeopathic remedies. Some doctors use centesimal potencies, a C potency, and usually you take the remedy once every 3 months. But the problem with the centesimal, there's a greater possibility of antidoting it. With mint, camphor, coffee, there's a big list.
Yeah.
I like the LMs. The LMs you take a little bit every day. It tends to be more gentle with the body. And at the same time, it gives me a better indication of what's going on with you.
Right.
It reduces aggravations.
Right. And does it actually bring up the symptoms in you? Because I find that because guilt and things like that is kind of something that goes on in my head. And I find it's coming up quite a lot, and I'm just wondering if to do with
It can cause a purging. The body heals from inside outward. So maybe a lot of these things are leaving you. You're becoming more aware of it. It's leaving you. There's also in homeopathy called a return of old symptoms. And that's a good sign that, let's say maybe you had knee surgery 10 years ago and you had a lot of pain. You take a homeopathic remedy and your knee will start to ache. But usually the return of old symptoms is short-lived. It's just a brief. But if it's something that persists, then it's of a concern, and we maybe have to reevaluate your homeopathic remedy.
Okay. I just wanted to say, did you get the email with the video about the Juvent microcurrent machine?
Yep, I did.
You did, because I just thought that that was quite interesting because it creates those stem cells through vibrating on the bones, and apparently the bones make the.
Well, I'm working with a company called iCell,
Mhm.
and they're trying to get FDA approval. And we've identified frequencies to actually stimulate stem cells.
Right.
And those frequencies are in your machine. But you know, stimulating stem cells isn't really magical. Eating well will stimulate stem cells, having positive thoughts, exercising, you know, all your healthy measures will stimulate stem cells.
Yeah.
And I really think the most important thing is a good mental, emotional attitude.
Yeah.
Because when you're under stress, anxious, angry, those negative emotions definitely adversely affect your body.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Kondrot. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. There's a couple more chat questions. Is the Oclumed, that's not included in the 3-month program because not everybody uses the Oclumed. If your body weight is less, can you take less supplements? And that is a good question. And I think it's true. If you weigh under 100 pounds, you probably don't need as much in the way of the nutritional supplements. And maybe you can cut it down to 3/4 half. But I'm a firm believer that food is our best medicine. You know, we are what we eat. And, you know, sometimes you need the vitamins for the actual extra nutritional support, but we really have to get our nutrition from the food that we eat. And also the idea of improving the health of your gut. So that's why I like fresh fruits and vegetables and fermented foods. Sauerkraut, kimchi, yogurt, all these things can be very, very beneficial to help improve your gut. And of course, avoiding antibiotics. Now, here's something interesting. Did you know that the French have the healthiest guts in the world? You know why? Because the French, when they greet each other, they kiss on each cheek. And kissing is actually helping improve your intestinal flora. Every time you kiss somebody, you're sharing their bacteria. So, you know, contact with other people helps improve your gut. People that do a lot of traveling tend to have a healthy gut. You know, if you're going to different countries and different areas, you're exposed to different bacteria. And the diversity of your bacteria in your gut makes for a healthy individual. And I think a big problem now, everybody has a germ phobia. You know, when I was a kid, I would pick a dirty apple off the tree and eat it, drink with the garden hose, the water, you know, play in the dirt. Nowadays, you know, there's kids in grade schools and their mom gives them a hand sanitizer and they're using the hand sanitizer everywhere they go. They're cleaning doorknobs. And you need to be exposed to bacteria. That makes a healthy immune system. People now are growing up to be immunological cripples. They have no immune system. And these are the individuals that when they do get a cold or flu, they get really sick because their immune system isn't strong. Oh, you're smiling there, Ron. With those antibiotics, you got to have your health coach maybe give you. Ron
I
was
said,
smiling.
I said, live dirty, eat clean. We learned that in the sourdough starter class.
So
Live
anyway, I
dirty.
think Ron may want to, you may want to put him on some probiotics, supplemental probiotics. in
I
his diet.
did the same day. Yes, I
Okay,
did. Thank
good job. Good job. Any other questions? Hey, Arlene, I like your screensaver. That's Sedona. It's the chapel in Sedona. I used to have an office in Sedona. I can remember that building. Mary Ann, hi, how are you?
Hi, good, thank you. I'm wondering about when you were talking about the antibiotics and probiotics, and I wonder about the fact that are they, is there a benefit with the probiotics when the antibiotics just erase everything?
Well, probably.
How would
What
you
I
work
advise
that?
patients is, after your course of antibiotics,
Then,
if you're taking the probiotics with the antibiotics are probably killing most of them.
right, so you're not really benefiting until,
Well, some of it may stay in your gut. At
okay,
least you get some in. But then after the course of antibiotics, that's when you really have to load up.
okay, thank you.
That's when you have to really be diligent and start looking at different fermented foods and taking extra acidophilus and bifidus and all those things.
Right, I just learned about from my doctor, I just learned about a very aggressive probiotic. I don't have the name here now. I'll have to look it up. My was prescribed for my husband.
Now, you want to hear something really gross? You can do a fecal transplant.
Oh, I've heard of that.
You take the feces from a healthy person and they put it rectally in you. I wouldn't recommend that. I think I'd rather have just the commercial probiotics from the store. But people that are really immune compromised, it can be life-saving.
I heard of a relation that a distant family relation who had C. diff, and that's what they did for him.
Mhm. So I don't want any of you going back to your eye doctor and telling them that I recommend a fecal transplant. I'm in enough trouble with a lot of eye doctors. Someone liked the quote, Ron, they liked the quote that your partner shared, your health coach shared. Live dirty and eat clean. You mentioned other ways we can use the ozone generator. Well, you have the A2Z. I'm not sure which model that is. But you can drink ozonated water. You can ozonate your vegetables in your kitchen sink to get rid of maybe some chemicals and toxins on them. I like the ozonated eye drops. But if you have the machine that generates a higher gamma than the rectal insufflation, the auricular ozone, and of course the doctors do the major autohemotherapy where they take out a little bit of blood to mix the ozone. I don't know if you saw the talk by Dr. Frank Schallenberger at the Vision event. He's an amazing individual and he's one of the world authorities on ozone. And his talk, it's amazing the good properties that ozone will do to your body in terms of improving your immune system, improving your oxygenation, fighting infections. So if you do want more, I like to empower you as individuals to be able to, treat yourself at home. That's why I like the microcurrent. And if you do invest in an ozone generator, there's a lot of things you can do, like the auricular ozone, the rectal. You can go to the YouTube and search my name in ozone. You'll come up with a lot of videos on the rectal insufflation, the auricular, and the ozonated eye drops. So the ozone works extremely well with a lot of the therapies that you're doing.
When I started my IV chelation, they told me it was going to take maybe 20 to 30 times to start seeing a result. And I was under the impression that it would probably be a lot quicker than that. That sounds like using the suppositories.
Well, yeah, anytime you're doing any type of a detox program, it takes a long time. It's a misconception that 1 or 2 IVs will take care of things. It's a long process. It's tough to get rid of the lead. But remember this, it's more than getting rid of the lead or the heavy metals. It's improving your peripheral blood flow. So when you do chelation, you are improving your peripheral blood flow, which is going to have great benefits to your eye, your brain, your cardiovascular system.
How about the suppositories? How often do you use those?
I like to use them every other day. You don't want to use them daily, every other day, just to give your rectum a rest. And currently I'm using the detoxamin every other day. I have elevated lead, and actually I've been treating the elevated lead for 20 years. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time when the steel mills were in full force and there was a lot of pollution. And, my lead is slowly being reduced, but I'm also doing it to help improve my cardiovascular system. So I'm using the detoxamine every other day, and I try to do an IV chelation maybe once a month or every other month when I have time.
And what is the cost for the suppositories?
Oh, I'll tell you, it's considerably cheaper than the IV. That's for sure.
Well, I'm sure of that.
I'd have to go to the website. That it is very reasonable. It's an economical way of doing, chelation. But it all depends on your lead level. If your lead level is extremely high and you're having serious problems with your eyes, then I would recommend, you got to get the IV therapy to be a little bit more aggressive. But if it's the lead and mercury is just moderately elevated and, you just have slight visual problems, then probably the rectal suppositories would be the way to go. And don't forget, you want to make changes in your diet. You want to prevent the addition of all these toxins going into your body. Doesn't do you any good if you're doing IV chelation every week and you have a crappy diet and you're drinking contaminated water, and you have to avoid the toxins. There's a question here. We no longer are using the CATS ozone generator. The company stopped selling them, so we have another company. I think it's the A2Z machine, which I think is, we don't sell them. I think we just give you the link to order it yourself. Does Flo have a question regarding cataract surgery?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you know of any way to stabilize the lens capsule if one decides to not have a lens replacement put in, and then if one wants to change one's minds down the road, whether there's a way of keeping the capsule intact so that there's still choices? Do you understand my question?
That's the problem. If you're going to have cataract surgery, you should probably put the lens in at the time of surgery, because invariably the capsule will scar and then it'll be very difficult. And unfortunately, when you're younger, you tend to have more scar tissue than if you're older. So if you're 85 and you have cataract surgery, the chances of getting scar tissue is very, very low. But if you're young, in your 40s or 50s, you're definitely going to get scar tissue. It's just the way the body heals.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, we're coming to a close, and I want to thank all of you for joining the meeting. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks. And also I want to thank all of you that are taking a look at my book and giving me comments. I'll be sending you a recording of this meeting along with the download of the unedited version of my book. It's the complete book, and if you have a chance, take a look at it. I'd appreciate your feedback. So everyone have a good weekend. Thanks so much for joining.
Thank you,
And we'll
Dr.
talk-
Kondrot. Thank
Okay, we'll
you.
talk to you again soon. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.